Post-processing. I know it sounds weird and it's like, what is this guy even talking about? But let me tell you, my friend, post-processing is Amplitube's secret weapon. And let's say maybe you feel like you're stuck in a sound and you don't know where to go with it. Maybe post-processing is the key that you need to unlock the power of your tone. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm Jorge Lanza saying now. We break it down, baby. Post-processing. And just like the word itself says, it's processing after.
But after what?
Depending on what you're doing, post-processing can mean several different things. Let's say, for example, if you're making movies or music videos, I'm sure you've heard the phrase, "We'll fix it in post." And let's say if you've ever been to like a local studio and you've heard, "Oh, don't worry about that sound, we'll fix it in the mix." Well, that, my friend, is what post-processing means. Something that is done after the fact. However, I feel like sometimes we leave a little bit too much work for after the fact, and there is so much more space for us to fill with our own artistic expression. And I know if you're a traditional guitar player, right now you're feeling like, why do I even need to do anything? Just give me a Les Paul, plug me into a Fender Tweed. And you know, if that's the case, awesome, my friend. But this video, my friend, is for you and not for him. For you that have been playing with Amplitude for a while now and you've been creating tones and you have like your own stack of presets that you really like to play with. But let's say there's a few things that you still feel like they could be better and you already hear them in your head and you kind of know how to fix them. You just maybe haven't figured out that Amplitude has all the tools for you to do that. So today, my friend, that's exactly what I'm trying to do. Okay, so here we are in Amplitude 5, and right now this is just my simple preset that I always use. Right now, the only thing that I did is that I changed for this amp because I don't know, but I've been really liking this amp a lot lately. It just had that really sweet, like warm tone and that nice reverb to die for. And you know, like how simple it is, just like 3 knobs and that's it. But that's all I needed, and I felt really good with this one. But needless to say that this is gonna work with any amp that you might be using, any kind of tone, even if it's like super metal or like bluesy or jazzy, whatever it is that you're doing. These principles hold exactly the same. So having said that, let's get a guitar. Today we're gonna be using my PRS SE Custom 2408 because I love this guitar. Let's check it out. Okay, so let's just record a simple riff and then we start tweaking. And that's it, just a simple riff. Now let's just dump this guitar down. I mean, I feel like that sounds pretty good already, and that's what we always feel. But there's always space for improvement. So let's get this better. If you see right here in this part of Amplitube and you scroll to the right, then you see this little thing that looks like a mixer. If you click it, then you see that there's a lot of space for you to drop things. You can also just drag and drop little things here and there. And that's the way I do it. So let me show you how we do that. In this tab all the way on the right is where we have all the post-processing effects. And you can see there's delay, reverbs, dynamics, filters, modulation, pitch, EQ. So is it clear already that if you're not checking out this part of Amplitube, you are really missing out on a lot of really cool stuff? So let's see what we would do to this tone to make it sound a little bit better. I feel like the first thing that we can do is drag one of these EQ81s and put it right in the beginning of our chain. And the first thing that I want to do is cut a little bit of the rumble. Let's hear it. And of course, I overdid it just so that you can hear what this does, okay? And usually the way I would choose this frequency would be depending on the part that I'm doing. In this case, in this riff, I would choose whatever the lowest note is and cut there. But in your case, that maybe you're doing like a high gain sound and let's say you're down tuning guitars. Figure out what the lowest note is in like a frequency chart and cut the closest that you can to that. But right now, let's just do it by ear. I feel like just by running through this plugin, it's already getting a little bit of magic. And when we cut that little bottom part, it gets a little bit of a lift that I find really pleasing. And for sure, it's going to cut a little bit better in a song if you're making a song or producing an album or just playing with your bandmates or maybe like one of our friends who does like live stream jamming. Maybe this will help you cut a little bit better. But we're not going to stop there. Let's keep going. Zip. I usually like to give it a little bit of the flavor of this 1081 because it's just like a legendary EQ and it sounds really good. So how do we do that? I usually like to turn this up a couple notches, and then you turn this down a couple notches. Let's hear how it sounds. If I feel like the difference in volume it's a little too much, I turn it down a little bit more. Right here. Boop, another hit. And yes, it's not a bigger sound, but it's a more focused sound. More what I'm looking for right now. Let's make it even more focused by choosing the right mid frequencies that we need to boost. Again, in like the context of, like, let's say a band. I would usually like to do somewhere around, I don't know, any of these 4 frequencies around here. Let's see which one's better. Let's start in 2.7K and let's go up and see what's better. So as you can hear, the closer I get to that 1.5K,
the more nasal it gets.
But when we start moving to the other side towards the 8K, it starts getting a little bit more brittle. And somewhere in between might be the sweet spot. Let's see, I kind of want to say that my sweet spot was like 3.2K. Let's try it. I feel like for this kind of riff, it's pretty appropriate. And then I like to give it a little bit of extra sauce with this guy here called the Saturator X. I usually like to put it on this Master 12 and then play with the gain and output. So let's do just that. And in this example, I feel like it gets the sound a little bit too hairy. So let's dial it down and go to Master +6. And now let's try to remove both of them and see if it really got any better. And yes, I know we are changing the sound a lot, but I feel like for the riff, in my opinion, it sounds better already. Let me know in the comment section if it sounds better to you too. And while you're there, remember, like, subscribe, and do all those cool little things that we like to do on YouTube. And enjoy this little bossa nova, my friend. I hope your day keeps getting better and better and better. Alright, let's keep going. So yeah, I feel like in general, my tone sounds similar to what I had in the beginning, but a little bit better. But what happens? If you want to be a little bit more creative and do something that it's maybe more adventurous, let's see. I see that there's so many things here. Let's just put this and see what happens. Wow, I can't believe like something so simple like that just changed the mood of the sound. Absolutely. Like it just feels like a totally different song. Like they just gave me like this beachy, like super fresh vibes, right? I'm just gonna roll with it and keep it. Let's see what else we can do. Now that we have that, I don't know, let's take this step slicer. Maybe not for this, but you know, like there's all that kind of stuff. Let's check something else like this FN modulator. I mean, maybe that's not the best thing you've ever heard, but let's see what happens if we were to put, let's say, like a tape delay. Yeah, maybe nothing useful, but let's just roll with what we have so far because I feel like that was really nice, that fresh sound. Let's just give it a little bit of reverb. Let's put a little bit of that shimmer reverb. And let's try to take the size down a bit and the decay down a lot. See what happens? I feel like all of a sudden we have a vibe. Let's just keep doing. I feel like these kind of filters are sort of cool. Let's just do this one just for fun. Let's see what happens if we put it before that chorus, whatever. So I feel like instantly we went from something that was just totally generic, simple, and that didn't really evoke so much emotion to something that had the sauce. So there you go, my friend. Let's go get a few conclusions. Post-processing. Did you see the power of post-processing? And again, this is one of the things that it's pretty much exclusive to Amplitube. I know that there might be other plugins that you can do this with, and definitely if you have a DAW, you can put like a million plugins right after. But I haven't found many AmpSims that give you all this flexibility after you did all your tone. That to me, my friend, is pretty sweet. And then you might feel like we ran out of space right here, but no. Let me tell you, you can do this, and there's more. You can do this. And to me, that's a lot of processing power. And I know in the beginning, it just looked like I was being silly, but no, you know, creativity is when you're actually having fun and just like not even thinking about anything. You just go and try to find sounds. That's exactly what I was trying to do. I was letting you into my process on how I get to sounds. I'm not really taking this thing too seriously. Music is supposed to be fun, in my opinion. If not, I would just have like an office job. I always dream about doing music for a job because I knew how fun it was. And this is the fun that I'm talking about. So if you have fun with these kind of things, I think you might have a career in music. Career in music is not guaranteed, so don't try to make me liable for it. But all I'm trying to say is that if you came up with the sound that you really like, and you've been playing parts, and you feel like, yeah, I know all these chord progressions already, and they all been used, so many songs have done it, but you know, maybe you just need a little bit of spices like salt, pepper, paprika, turmeric, whatever you might be in need of. Amplitube has a ton of processors, like plugins in and of themselves, that you can use after everything that you were using just to make your tone, in that search to make it more individual. Because the other day I saw a comment that said, all AmpSim sound the same. And yeah, they do. As a bass, I feel like they have to, because let's say, for example, a Fender amp, it's always going to sound like a Fender amp. A Marshall amp is always going to sound like a Marshall amp. An Orange is going to sound like an Orange. And that is exactly what we want. What makes every single AmpSim different, my friend, is you. The tones that you can come up with and the music that you make with the tones that you did with Amplitube. So I don't want to hear about AmpSim sounding the same, and I want to hear you making them sound the best. So go ahead, my friend, put some post-processing in your sounds, make them a little bit more unique, and have a lot more fun doing your music. But if for some reason you feel that Amplitube was behaving a little bit different from me that is behaving for you, maybe you have a little bit of issues in your input section, and I have a video just for that right here, my friend. Go check it out. We'll talk about it later. I'll be waiting for you right there. Thank you for being here again. Zip!